Good day and welcome. Now in this lesson, the 15 lessons before that, is to prepare you for concepts we test, control test, mini cycle exam or assignment. This one here, there's 18 marks on exponents, 20 marks on surds, and 12 marks on equations. Because I'm only focusing on exponents and surds, for now I'm only answering exponents and surds. Right, so let's look at the test. Right, so before you pause or do anything, you need to come and understand how we work through a test. Right, so you're going to attempt to answer all these questions. You can see these first 5 questions are all on exponents. And they're testing your knowledge of laws. This testing your definition, multiplication and division of exponents, addition and subtraction of exponents, and exponential equation. So generally that's the format. We will test laws, definition, multiplication, division, subtraction, exponential equation. Right, there's still a second slide, contains my surds, so let's look at that. So my surds there gave one big square root with the equation quadratic there at the bottom. Second surd, it's got minus and plus signs. Third surds, 2 brackets, binomial by binomial. Third one, testing distributive law, and there again, subtraction with division. Right, so those are your basic surd equations. Now you're going to attempt to answer this. Right, take notes. Some of the items you're going to do right, some you're going to make errors. Wherever you made an error, make a note, take another color pen. Right, and what I had to learn to do when I was younger is, if I made an error, I'm going to go redo that sum 5 times over, and only if I can do it 5 times correctly that I know that it is in my head. It was a lot of work, but yeah, that sacrifice I made for a year, 2 years, led to me all of a sudden understanding that algebra is just pattern recognition, right? So you can pause from first slide and this slide, right, and try to answer the questions. Right, I'm now going to do the solutions. Right, so if we look here at question 1, there my base is C, base C, I'm dividing. So when I divide, second law states that I have to subtract the exponents. So that becomes 2x minus 1 minus x minus 1, multiplying with the negative. From there, 2x minus x would give me x. Minus 1 would give me negative 2. I get 1 mark for that. My final answer, we don't want negative exponents. So c negative 2 I take to the bottom, becomes c to the power 2, and c to the power x stays on top. So 1 mark there and 1 mark there, 2 marks. So go look where you made an error. Most of the time the error appears there. When we say subtract, you want to multiply the negative in the 1x and not in the second one. Look at number 2, testing your definitions or negative exponents. Right, I have 1 over x minus y to the power negative 2. Most of the times when we solve problems, we try not to solve it with a negative exponent. So here, to make the negative exponent positive, I'm going to take that to the top. It simply becomes x minus y to the power 2. So I have a binomial, 2 terms, and it's squared. So most learners from here lose a mark because they forget this, the middle term. So from there, x times x, give me x squared. For the middle term, I say x times negative y times 2. It gives me negative 2xy. Negative times negative positive, y times y, y squared. So 1 mark for making my negative exponent positive, and another mark for correctly multiplying out all 3 terms. Let's go to problem number 3. So in problem number 3, now we have multiplication and division of exponents, right? Very common exam question. So first step, if you're in grade 11, we will always test if you can take these numbers that are composite and write them as prime bases. So 9 there would become 3 to the power 2. 27, 3 to the power 3. 81, 3 to the power 4. Your calculator, if you have a Casio FX82, you can just press 9 equal shift fact, and it will give you 3 to the power 2. 27 equal shift fact will give you 3 to the power 3. 81 equal shift fact will give you 3 to the power 4. So 1 mark for changing everything to prime basis. Right, now we're going to apply law 4 and law 3. To solve, we have to correctly multiply. So we're going to say 2 times n give me 2n. 2 times negative 1 gives me negative 2. 3 times 3 gives me 9. 3 times negative 2 gives me negative 6n. 4 times 2 gives me 8. 4 times negative n would give me negative 4n. Right? Most of the time the error comes here. Learners multiply the first one, but they forget to multiply the second. So all terms must be multiplied with each other. Right? Then once we're done with that, we apply law 1 and 2. Meaning the bases are the same, we're going to add the exponents. If the bases are the same and we're dividing, we're going to subtract the exponents. So in short, everything on top I write as it appears. So 2n minus 2 plus n minus 6n. If I come below the division sign, because I'm subtracting, I'm technically changing the signs of that. So negative times positive would make that negative 8. Negative times negative makes that positive 4n. So in short, just change the sign so that I wrote positive 8 gets written as negative 8. Negative 4n is plus 4n. Right, from there, 4n plus 2n gives me 6n. 6n minus 6n gives me 0. 9 minus 8 gives me 1. Minus 2 plus 1 gives me negative 1. Again, we do not want a negative exponent as a final answer. So I have to take that to the bottom. 3 to the negative 1 become 3 to the power 1, and I simply leave 1 on top. So hope you follow and understand so far. Right, let's look at number 4. Right, now here they've given me 5 times 2x plus 3 minus 3 times 2x plus 2 divided by 2x plus 1. So because there's a plus or minus sign between terms, generally we are testing a common factor. So we look there, I have base 2, they both 2 to the power x, 2 to the power x. So I can take out 2 to the power x out as a common factor. Right, so 5 stays there, 2 to the power x cancel. And please, very important, what's left is 2 to the power 3, not 3. So for my 20 years teaching this, I've had learners constantly make that error. So 2 to the power 3, do not go right 3. Negative 3 stays, 2 to the power x. I'm taking out and I'm left with 2 to the power 2, not 2. Right? The bottom, 2 to the power x plus 1, I can split. So that becomes 2 to the power x times 2 to the power 1. Without fail, with these sums, whatever contains a variable will cancel with other items. So 2 to the power x and 2 to the power x cancel. So there I'm left now with 5. 2 to the power 3 is 8. So 5 times 8 minus 3 times, I assume you know 2 to the power 2 is 4. There 2 to the power x cancels. So I'm left with 2 to the power 1, which is simply 2. Right, 5 times 8 would give me 40. Minus 3 times 4 would give me negative 12 divided by 2. 40 minus 12 gives me 28. 2 stays, and 28 divided by 2 would give me 14. So I say, look at where you've made an error, make a note of it, and then go practice and correct that error till you understand the pattern of how to solve the problem. So look at the last exponential equation. Right, so if we look at the equation given, we have 3 times 9 to the power x minus 1 equal 27 to the negative x. 9 not a prime number, so it gets written as a prime base, 3 to the power 2. 27 is a prime base, 3 to the power 3. Right, 3 simply stays in front. Now applying law 3 and law 4, 2 times x gives me 2x, 2 times minus 1 gives me negative 2. 3 times negative x gives me negative 3x, and there 3 simply becomes 3 to the power 1. Right? The bases are the same. We add the exponents, so their base 3 and base 3 are the same, and we're multiplying. So that becomes 1 plus 2x minus 2 equal 3 to the negative 3x. Bases are the same, so I drop them, so I'm left with 1 plus 2x minus 2 equal negative 3x. If I bring negative 3x across, I have plus 3x, so I put all my x's on the same side. 1 minus 2, which gives me negative 1. If I take it to the other side, positive 1. 2x plus 3x gives me 5x. 5x equal 1. So therefore x equal 1 divided always by the coefficient in front of x, so 1 over 5. So 1 mark for prime basis, 1 for correctly multiplying Lord 3 and 4, 1 mark for dropping the exponents, simplifying and writing the final answer. Right, now let's look at the surds. Right, so question 2, that simply says simplify. Given one big square root, and under that they give me 4x squared minus 24xy plus 36y squared. So generally, if it's given like that, it's either I can find the square root straight. So 4 is a perfect square, 36, but 24 not. So we first factorize and hope that it forms a perfect square. So 4x squared would be 2x times 2x, give me 4x squared. 36y squared is simply negative 6y times negative 6y, which gives me 36y. And there minus 12y, you see minus 6 times 2, give me minus 12. Minus 6 times 2, minus 12. That minus 12, this minus 12 would give me negative 24. Because the brackets are the same, now I can write them as 2x minus 6y, all squared. Then this squared and the square root cancel, so my final answer simply stays 2x minus 6y. For the second one here, now we've given you surd expressions, right? But separated by plus and minus sign. So assume you remember the rule: to add any item to another one with variables, they must be like terms. Right? So I have cube root, fourth root, and square root. So 125 I can write as 5 to the power 3. Right? The exponent there is 1. The outside 3, so that simply becomes 1 over 3. For x, 6 divided by the 3. Negative. For 81, I can write it as 3 to the power 4, but exponent inside 1 over 4. For x, it simply becomes 8 divided by 4. Right? Plus, for 36, 6 squared, inside 1 over 2. For x, 4 over 2. So there 3 and 3 cancel, and I'm left with 5 to the power 1. 6 divided by 3 gives me x squared. 4 and 4 cancel, so I'm left with 3 to the power 1, which is 3. And 8 divided by 4, and not 2. Typing error. I wish I was on a port just to change it to 4. But 8 divided by 4 would give me x squared. There 2 and 2 cancel, so I'm left with 6. And that's x4 divided by 2, which gives me x squared. Now I have x squared, and x squared. So therefore I can add the coefficients, 5 plus 6, which gives me 11. 11 minus 3, which then gives me 8. So that becomes 8x to the power 2. Right? Let's look at problem number. So in problem number 3, I have in one bracket 3 square root 2x minus 2 square root 3y. Next one, 3 square root 2x plus 2 square root 3y. So my brackets contain the same terms, see there in blue and purple, but one is positive and negative. Straight out, we're just testing difference of two squares, meaning I multiply first term with first term, and then last term with last term. So 3 square root 2x times 3 square root 2x. This negative times that positive would give me a negative. 2 square root 3y times 2 square root 3y. 3 times 3 gives me 9. Square root 2x times square root 2x. The square root simply cancel, and I'm left with 2x. There negative stays. 2 times 2 would give me 4. Square root 3y times square root 3y simply becomes 3y. 9 times 2x would give me 18x. Minus 4 times 3y would give me negative 12y. 1 mark there for correct multiplication, simplification, and final answer. Right, now in number 4, we're testing your knowledge of distributive law. We have one term outside square, or not square, open brackets, right? So that there, no sign there, so therefore we're testing multiplication. This term with the first term, this term with the last term. So 2 square root 8a times square root 2a. Positive times negative gives me negative. 2 square root 8a times 3 square root 18a. Right, so there I'll leave the 2, or 2 times 1 stays 2. First law of Surds, square root times square root, I can write as 1 square root and say 8a times 2a. Negative stays. 2 times 3 would give me 6. Again, first law, square root 8a times square root 18a of Surds says, can write it as one big square root because the square root sign is the same, and just say 8a times 18a. 8a times 2a, 8 times 2 gives me 16, 8 times a squared. Minus my 6 there, 8 times 18 gives me 144, 8 times a, 8 squared. Square root of 16, 4, square root of a squared, a. My 2 simply stays. Square root of 144, 12. Square root of a squared, simply a. 2 times 4a would give me 8a. Minus 6 times 12a would give me negative 72a. Negative 72a plus 8a then would give me negative 64a. So hope you follow so far. 1 mark there for correct multiplication. Second mark there for applying law 1 correctly. Third mark for simplification, and fourth mark for final answer. Let's look at this one. So number 5, we have square root 2 x to the power 16 minus 2 square root 8x 16 divided by square root 18x 16. So there first, I'm going to break this up. Remember, it's going to say in exam, solve without a calculator. So 8 be written as 4 times 2. 18 can be written as 9 times 2. So I have to go look for a perfect square in 8 and a perfect square in 18. Perfect square in 8 is 4. Perfect square in 18 is 9. And how I know in short that I have to use 2 is because there I have that square root 2, which will be an irrational number. So therefore I brought 2 in with everything. Right, x16, square root of that is simply 16 divided by the invisible 2 of a square root. Gives me x8. Here square root 4 is 2, so that becomes negative 2 times 2. And x16 again, 16 divided by 2 gives me x8. And square root 2 I can't simplify, so square root 2 stays behind. Square root of 9 becomes 3. x16 divided by 2 would give me x8. And square root 2 stays behind. So that term is a square root 2, this one is square root 2, this one is square root 2. x8, x8, x8. Right, so I'm creating like terms. Remember, when there's plus or minus signs, I can only add or subtract like terms. So minus 2 times 2 gives me negative 4. x8 square root 2 minus negative 4x8 square root 2 over 3x8 square root 2. Right, positive 1 minus 4 gives me minus 3x8 square root 2. They have 3x8 square root 2. Negative divided by positive would give me negative. Anything divided by itself would give me 1. So there are 2 marks. 1 for writing that as 4 times 2. Second mark for writing that as 9 over 2. Right, 1 mark for simplifying that all correctly. But then adding like terms, another mark, and then 1 mark for the final answer. Right, so in general, if a test is 50 marks, I must be able to answer it in 25 minutes so that you are able to answer it in 50 minutes. Remember, it's 1 mark per question, or 1 mark, 1 minute per mark, and therefore if I give you 50 marks, you have to write it in 50 minutes. The 10 minutes is just for your more complex problems, right? So I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Any questions, feel free to comment and ask. God bless. Bye.